Hi, Bruce. I'm so happy to see you here and to create this beautiful event together in September for the first time in Brussels. But now we will start to ask you some questions. Why are you so passionate about your scientific research about cell biology, how life works?
Well, I've become very passionate when I recognize I was a teacher, a professor in the medical school, and I was teaching about how genes control life. The problem with that is it makes us victims, meaning our heredity controls us and we do not control the heredity. So people think, I'm going to get cancer because I have a cancer gene in the family. And I go, there's no gene that causes cancer. Not one gene causes cancer. Cancer is caused by the mind not living in harmony, the mind in stress. In fact, 90% of the health crisis on the planet, 90% is due to stress.
Yes.
1%, less than 1% of the health crisis is due to genes. So basically, we have to change the way we're thinking. And I changed my whole life, the way I was thinking, and started to recognize my mind is creating this experience. Well, that's not just my belief. This is the understanding of quantum physics. Quantum physics, the principle number one, quantum physics, consciousness is creating our life experience. Now, that's important because you say, but wait, I wouldn't want this mess. I don't want war. I don't want violence. And I go, yeah, but are you using your creative mind, the conscious mind, or are you using the programs, which are the habits in the subconscious mind? Now, the habits in the subconscious mind, many of them did not come from us. We observed other people, like the mother, the father, and the family. And in the first 7 years of our life, our brain is like a recorder. It records everything that we see and we hear. So the subconscious programs that are running our life, many of these programs were programmed into us before we were age 7. And I say, yeah, but the quantum physics, consciousness creates this. And I go, when you're using your conscious mind, you are the creator. But when you're using the subconscious mind, you have been programmed. That's a habits. Okay? Well, science tells us only 5% of the day do we create life from our wishes and desires conscious. 95% of the day, our life is created by the programs that we got in the first 7 years. Now, the problem, why am I playing programs? Why don't I just create what I like? Because when we are thinking, that's the conscious mind. And when the conscious mind is thinking, it's not looking out at the world. Thinking is inside. I say, Martina, today is Thursday. Tell me what you're doing on Saturday. And the point is, it's not written in front of you, but you can think about it, and then you can tell me. I go, yeah, but guess what? When you're thinking, you're looking inside. Thinking is inside. So if you're thinking, then who's running outside? And the answer is the subconscious is the same as what we say autopilot. It takes over the control when you are thinking. Now, that's 95% of the day. Now, here's the problem. When you are playing the subconscious programs, you can't see them. And I say, why not? Because why are you playing the subconscious program? Because you are thinking. Well, if you're thinking, you're inside, so you don't see the program coming from outside. But everybody else does see the program. And so, are you creating your life with your wishes and desires? I go, nope. You're creating your life with programs. And you are the only one that cannot see those programs. So if they're good programs, not a problem. But what if you have bad programs, disempowering programs, programs that sabotage you? I say, you will never see you're playing them. I tell people for years, you have a friend, you know your friend's behavior, and you know your friend's parent. And one day you see your friend has the same behavior as the parent. So you tell your friend, you say, Bill, you're just like your father. And I know what Bill's going to say, and you know what Bill's going to say. Bill's going to say, how can you compare me to my father? I'm nothing like my father. The point. Everybody else can see that Bill behaves like his father because that's the program that he's playing 95% of the day. The only one who cannot see that program is Bill. So Bill says, I'm not like my father. Why? He can't see the behavior when he's playing the program that he downloaded from his father. Now comes the big point. All of us are Bill. We do this every day, and you don't see it. So I say, well, are you creating the life you want, or are you creating the life you've been programmed to create? Which includes disease and behavior and emotions. For example, if a child is adopted into a family where there's cancer running in that family, the adopted child will get the same family cancer. Yeah, but there's a problem. I go, what's the problem? I say, the adopted child has totally different genetics. So how did the child get the cancer with different genes? The answer was, the cancer didn't come from the genes. The cancer came from bad programming in that first 7 years. Now, let's just help people for 1 second, because you didn't know you were being programmed. But guess what? It turns out our life is like the movie The Matrix. I go, what do you mean? I say, well, the point of The Matrix is everybody's programmed. I go, yeah, that's true. We are programmed. But in the story of The Matrix, they say if you take a red pill, you can get out of the program. I go, guess what? We now know when people fall in love, when they first fall in love, it's the same as the red pill. I go, what do you mean? I say, because when you first fall in love, you stop thinking. I go, what do you mean? I go, you just met this person. Why? Thinking takes you away. So you stop thinking, you stay, the term, you stay present. You stay mindful. I said, what does that mean? You're not thinking. I go, well, wait a minute. The only reason you played the program is because you were thinking. But what if you're not thinking? Then you're not playing the program. Then what? Then your conscious creative mind is the one that is creating your life. And I go, so why is that so important? Think about this. Your life every day, blah, 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 blah. And then you meet somebody, you fall in love. And 24 hours later, you're going, life is so beautiful. Life is heaven on earth. Love is beautiful. I go, your life was blah, 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 blah. And then 24 hours later, your life is heaven on earth. I go, why? Because the moment you fell in love, you stopped playing the program and you became the creator. And what did you create? Heaven on earth. I go, that's always there. The only reason you don't experience it is because 95% of your life is not coming from your wishes and desires, the conscious. 95% is coming from the program. And that's why children grow up to be like their parents, because they have been programmed to be like their parents. And if you know this, you can change the program. And if you change the program, you can take back the control of your life. And this is one of the reasons I love to be here with you, Martina, because you understand a way of changing the belief programs that can change our life. It's called Psych-K. And I have to say, I use the Psych-K process to create my life. And when I had bad programming from my father, I said, why? Because my father and mother didn't have a good relationship. They were not good with each other. I say, yeah, but in my first 7 years, I watched my father's behavior and I programmed it. So 95% of the day, am I living my life? I say, no, 95% I'm playing my father's program. I say, what was wrong? I say, how could I find a relationship when I downloaded bad programming for a relationship? And the answer was 50 years, no relationship. Well, I changed the program when I knew about, oh my goodness, my life has got a bad program I downloaded from my father. That's when I first used the Psych-K process to rewrite that program.
Yes.
I say, what's the result? What's the result? I wrote a book. It's called The
Yes.
Honeymoon Effect. I
The
go, what do you mean?
honeymoon effect, yes.
I
That's
say,
one of my next questions. One of your bestsellers is the honeymoon effect. It sounds magic, but what's the magic on your daily basis in your personal life? You
yes.
started already to tell us.
Well, because I said, the first 50 years, I could not make a good relationship because invisible, my program, subconscious invisible program, pushed away potential people. When I learned, oh my goodness, I'm doing the same program that my father did, I said, I want to change that program. And that's when I found the Psych-K process, which was able to help me change the program. Within a very short time after changing the program, I met my partner now, Margaret, and we've been together 28 years. And I have to tell the best part. When I changed the program, I created a program of a honeymoon forever. And that's why, and this is why I wrote the book. Right now, 28 years, every day I wake up and it's like, I'm in the honeymoon. I love and so what was the important part? The important part was this. When we are struggling with our wishes and desires, whatever it is, I want to be healthier, I want to be happier, I want a better job, I want this, and I'm having trouble making it. It's not because you can't have it. It's because your programs in your subconscious that you downloaded when you were a child, those programs are interfering with your life because those are the programs running 95% of the day. So I say, so what? I say, well, it's like the Matrix. The red pill is you wake up and you
Yes.
say, my program is not helping me. I say, how do you know? Because I'm struggling. I'm working hard. Why am I working so hard to make my life? I go, because while you're thinking about it, your program is sabotaging you. And I go, you don't see the program. So you can rewrite the program. I go, what? I go, yes, you can rewrite what you want. Because remember, the program in your subconscious was primarily put in or downloaded into your mind in the first 7 years, whatever you experience. And that program has been running your life ever since. So if you want to change your life, you have to not work harder, you have to go in and change the program. Because once the program is changed, then everything will come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, if you're struggling to get healthy, or you're struggling with a relationship, or you're struggling with a job you don't like, you're just playing a program. And every day is going to be the same program, every day. And every day you say, well, I'm going to change it. I'm going to work hard. I go, I don't care how hard you work. 95% of your life is still coming from that program. So you need to take power back. You need to understand you're not creating the life you want. You are creating the life you've been programmed. You don't like the program? Well, then you can change the program. And that is the greatest miracle.
Yes, it is. And how did Psych-K change your life? Why do you write about it in your book?
Well, number one, I could not have written the book if I didn't do the Psych-K. I go, why? Because when I was writing the book, I was a research scientist in a medical school. And I knew when I wrote the book, I was going to put stuff about spirit and reincarnation and all these things. And I said, my mind, my subconscious program, the one that got me to be a great research scientist, said, if you write that, people will think you're crazy and all of your scientific colleagues will run away from you. So my subconscious would sabotage me every time I was writing a book. I get halfway done and then it couldn't work. Write, start it again, get halfway done, and I couldn't finish. And the reason was my subconscious was saying, if you finish this book according to the program, you will be taken away from your research people. And so what did I have to do? I had to rewrite that program. And the best part was, and I'll never forget, because when I did the rewriting through a Psych-K program called VAK, VAC to the future, you can create how you want the future to come. And so when I was creating the future, I said, look, I've been working so hard on this book and it doesn't work. So number one, I want this book to be easy, okay? And then I said, number two, I said, it's taking me so long. I want it to come out fast. And then number three, I said, why can't, it should be fun. Let me have fun writing the book. And then I did a Psych-K program to rewrite my mind to put what? Fast, easy, fun. And then I forgot all about it because it was only 15 minutes. And then a few months later, I'm finishing the book. The last day, I'm reading the book the last time before I send it to the publisher. And I'm finished the last sentence and I pushed myself away from the table and I said, wow, that was fast. It was kind of easy and fun. And then all of a sudden I said, oh my goodness, those are the words that I put into the program, and the book came out exactly the way I wanted it to come out. Was that chance? No. It's the nature that we are all creators. It's the nature of quantum physics that says we are creating this life. The issue is, as I said, most people look at their life and go, I don't want to create this. I don't want this. I go, but you are the creator. And I go, so what? It says, your programs are not helping because you've been programmed. All humans are programmed. Why? The brain is a computer. In the old days, you buy a brand new computer, brand new, take it home, push start. The screen lights up. I say, do something. And you go, I can't. I say, you got a brand new computer. You say, first, I have to put programs into the computer. Then I could use the computer. I go, this is exactly the same when it comes to the human brain as a computer. The screen in your brain lights up just before you're born. 3 months before you're born, the screen lights up. It's booted. But then guess what? For the next 7 years, your brain is going to download behavior by just watching. Watch your mother, watch your father, watch your family, watch your community. See how they work? You're recording. I said, what are you recording? Behavior. Whose? Father's behavior, mother's behavior, community behavior. I go, oh, so the programs in your subconscious mind, the ones that were downloaded so you could use the computer, they didn't come from you. They came from other people. I go, so why? I say, if they don't have the same program that you that you want, how are you going to get your program? Because you're only going to create their program. That's why cancer runs in the family. That's why cardiovascular disease runs in the family. That's why diabetes runs in the family. What's the point? All those illnesses are programs. And that when you change the program, then you can be the creator. But then I say, here's the problem. Almost everybody, they don't even know they're playing a program. They don't even know it. Why? No one told them. No one said anything. And did people know about the programming? Yes. I said, how long did they know about the programming? 400 years. I said, what do you mean? People knew you could program a person's life and they knew that for 400 years? Yes. I go, who? The Jesuits. They would tell their followers, give me a child until it is 7 and I will show you the man. I said, what were they saying? Everything science just said. First 7 years programming, then 95% of the rest of your life is the program. And they told their followers for 400 years, give me the child until 7. I go, why? That's the program period. That's when Catholic school came in. Teach them about the church and the spirit and the religion. And then once you program for 7 years, the rest of their life, even if they don't want to be part of the church, the program will keep them in that way. So I say, but that was 400 years ago. I go, and today, the programming is even better than the Jesuits could program. All you have to see is a child who can hardly walk, carrying an iPad and doing computer work, and the kid's only, 2 years old, 3 years old, and it's working with a computer. That's a program.
They do it like it's nothing.
And so we've all been programmed. Now the question is this: how do you know if the programs are good or bad? And I go, this is easy. 95% of your life is the program. So I go, so your life is a printout of your programs, because that's what you're doing, 95%. So I say, I said, then how do I know my programs? I go, just look at your life. The things you like, and they come into your life, well, they come into your life because you have programs to acknowledge those things. But the things you want, and you work hard, and you sweat, I'm going to struggle, I'm going to work hard, I'm putting all my effort, I'm going to make it. Why are you working so hard? The answer, very simple. Whatever that destination you wanted and you're having trouble getting there, it's not because you can't have it. It's because your programs don't let you have it. And so it's so important for me to be here with you, Martina, because I look forward to my visit to Brussels. It's very exciting in September. And we're going to be there because it's an opportunity to teach the new science and also to introduce how can you create the life you want.
I've still a next question about that. What do you think about some people who say that we are destroying the planet? It's a human behavior, you agree? And what can we do to make a difference in this world?
This, you know what? If you surf the web, if you watch the news on the TV, if you just look outside your window, the world is crazy today. Everywhere in the world is crazy. Every country got its own problem. Politics, economics, race, religion, health issues, all this. I go all over the world. People think those are the problems. I go, those are the symptoms of what? I say, there's a problem nobody's paying attention to. I go, what do you mean? I say, science has been telling us for 20 years, and even NASA scientists in the United States recently wrote an article that civilization, as we know it today, will collapse within 20 years. Civilization is falling apart. I go, why? Oh, well, you could say economic, social, political, racial, religious. I go, no. It's because I give you a fact, and this is a fact of science. If we want to keep the world running just the way it is today, just say, look, just let it keep running. It takes 1.6 planet Earths to provide the resources for today's civilization. I said, 1.6 planets of resources? I go, yes. And then I go, but we only have one planet. I go, that's the problem. we're using the resources of the planet up so fast and destroying the environment. We're polluting the air, we're polluting the water, we're polluting the ground, we're destroying the environment. And what's the point? We came from the environment. If the environment disappears, so do humans disappear. And we're facing what scientists have 20 years, I even wrote a book about it. We're facing an extinction. We're facing civilization cannot continue doing this. We don't have an extra planet. And we're destroying the one we have. So your question is, what can we do? I say, you notice the news is not telling you about this? No, they'll talk about a war. They'll talk about economics. They'll talk about, social issues. I say, science has been telling us for 20 years that human behavior, the way we're treating nature, is destroying the biosphere. We're destroying what gave life to us. And when the biosphere is gone, we can't be here. So how long is this going to be? And I say, not 1,000,000 years, not 100 years, actually within 20 years. I say, so what can we do? I say, first of all, wake up. I go, why? The newspaper is not telling you that what's happening. And the reason is, I understand, newspapers do not want to tell the public about things they think we have no control over because it will just scare the public. I go, no, we have a chance to make a change. We have to do it now. I say, what does that mean? I say, we have to change the way we are living on the planet. And we have to change our destruction. We have to change the way agriculture is ruining the biosphere. We have to change so many things. I go, well, who's going to do that? I said, we're going to do that. I say, who? Those of us who wake up, because the other ones are blind. They're just going about the world's got the bad problems. I go, no, you have bad problems. All of us have bad problems. The nature is waking us up. It says, you either change or you're gone. I say, and again, 20 years. So I says, well then, why don't we wake up? And I say, the governments don't want you to. Why? Because they can't control you. And control is the biggest issue in the world. For example, the COVID story with the virus. Everyone talks about the people getting sick. I go, yeah, people got sick and people died. And I'll tell you why. They were already weak. Their health issues were involved. They had obesity. 70% of the people who ended up in the hospital, super obese. 70-some% of the people who were in the hospital with COVID, diabetes type 2. Some very big percent of the people with COVID in the hospital that were sick, heart disease. So what was the point? Was the virus killing us? I say, no, it's people who were already sick who were dying because their immune system was not being supported. So I say, yeah, so people focus on the death. I go, you missed the biggest story. I go, what? The whole world stopped being in community. Why? With the virus, put your mask on. Don't talk to people. Keep away from each other. Don't get together. I go, humans only have power when we are in a community. If there is no community, humans have no power. I go, and COVID did what? It took away community on the whole planet, except for Sweden. Sweden said, screw it, we're going to just do what we do. Everybody else, the community was gone. I say, for a period of time, we as people on this planet had no power in creating the world that we're living in. We gave up community, and then we lived isolated from each other. You couldn't even see your mother in the hospital if she was dying. You couldn't even go there. I go, you didn't pay attention that we lost our power. And this is one of the things people are not paying attention to. The government knows we're facing a crisis. They know this. It's in the science. I go, so what? They also know when the crisis comes, it's going to be crazy, chaos. Why? People are going to go, ah! So they want to make control.
That the stress causes 90% of global health crisis too.
That's it. And so, well, what can you do? I say, well, if you have knowledge, there's a saying, knowledge is power. Okay? Let me say the same thing in a different way. A lack of knowledge is a lack of power. What you don't know disempowers you. I say, so what can we do? I say, you need to know the new science. The new science is how the mind creates our genetics. That's called, the new science is called epigenetics. Epi means above. What do we call skin? Epidermis. Epidermis. I say, what's dermis? Just below the skin is a layer called dermis. And skin is above the dermis. Epi means above. So epidermis means above the dermis. Epigenetics means above the genes. It's the new science that shows how your mind is controlling your genes and controlling your behavior. As I said, cancer is one of the biggest problems on this planet. And guess what? There's not one gene that causes cancer. Cancer is living out of harmony. And that, where did the harmony, where did it go? I go, in the programs you got, you lost harmony with yourself and with nature. And this is a time to change those programs. And for those that change the programs, the future is going to be easy. For those that don't change the programs, life is a struggle today, and it's going to get worse tomorrow. So the invitation is very important. If you see that it's crazy and you recognize that it's crazy, then you must recognize this. That's programming.
Yes. And then I come to a next question. You received the prestigious Goi Peace Award in Japan in honor of your scientific contribution to world harmony. You told just about harmony. Can you tell something more about that feels for you? How can we go then from chaos to peace in this time?
Again, the whole story is knowledge is power. If people knew they were programmed and they didn't like the life they have, they can reprogram. I say, what would be the reprogram? I go, well, look at it this way. Why I gave the example of the honeymoon. Because when people stopped playing the program and they became the creator, they created heaven on earth. Well, what if everybody stopped playing the program? Then we would all create heaven on earth. Well, I say, well, then this is the part that, as a scientist, I get excited about. Why? Well, we have been programmed to believe that if you have a good life, you can go to heaven when you're dead. If you have a bad life, you're going to go to hell when you're dead. And I go, that's a belief program. That's not even real. You believe that. I say, so what is my science telling me? And my science is telling me a simple fact. You don't die and go to heaven. You were born here. This is heaven. I go, what do you mean? I go, is this not where you came to create? This is a creation place. When you're creating a honeymoon, what did you create? Heaven. I go, yeah. And I said, but why did the honeymoon go away? Because I said, let's think about it. Why did you create heaven when your life was blah, blah, blah? And I go, because blah, blah, blah was the program playing 95% of the day. But when you fell in love, you stopped playing the program. And then you started creating from the wishes and desires, the honeymoon, the heaven on earth. And I said, yeah, but what happened to it? And I go, the reason why you stopped playing the program is you stopped thinking. You stayed present. You stayed mindful. I go, but what happens down the road? You're still busy. You have a job. You have responsibilities. You have to do things. I say, you start thinking. I say, what happens if you start thinking? I go, oh, then you start playing the programs. I go, yeah, but your partner in creating Honeymoon never saw those programs because you never played the negative programs. You were just playing the wishes and desires. That's the good part, okay? So I say, so what's the point? And I say, the honeymoon works because you stop thinking, which then say, I'm not playing the program. And I go, that's great until you start thinking again, because that's what we have to do in the world that we live in. I have a job. I have things I have to do. I have to think. I say, yeah, but if you start thinking, then guess what? Now you're going to play the program again. I go, and that's why the marriages, 50% of marriages break up and divorce. I go, why? Because when they first got together, they didn't play programs. They played wishes and desires, and they both loved it, and they both created honeymoon. But when they started thinking, then all of a sudden the programs started to show up that were not any good. And the partner looks at the other who, like I joke, I say, my partner Margaret comes and asks me a nice, simple question, but I'm thinking. We're on honeymoon, but I'm thinking. And then she asks me a nice question, and I go, blah, blah, blah. And she looks at me, and she goes, who are you? Where did that come from? What she just saw was a program that I downloaded from my father. And she never saw the program. Why? Because up until then, I wasn't playing the program. But now that that program comes up, she goes, well, that's not really good behavior. And then another bad program shows up and another bad program. And guess what? Over a period of time, both partners start playing negative programs. It's not the same as the honeymoon anymore. Now it's separation. And that separation, if the programs are bad enough, divorce. Okay? So all of a sudden this says we have to understand that that we are creators. But we also have to understand, which nobody's been teaching you, and I said they've known it for 400 years, is that your program in that first 7 years is what controls your life. If you have illness in your family, it turns out less than 1% of the illness is even connected to genes. So I said, where'd the illness coming from? Heart disease, cancer, diabetes. I go, lifestyle. I said, where'd you get that? Programming. You want to change your health? Change your program. Everybody wants to fix the body and keep the program. I say, no, you can put as many drugs as you want into this body, but it's the program that determines the outcome, not the drugs. And so the idea is you have a health issue, less than 1% genetics, the rest is lifestyle, program, behavior. Those are things you can fix. Those are things you have power over. And all of a sudden, we start to realize, I'm not a victim. I am a creator. Most people look and go, I didn't create this. I go, well, you did. You were doing it. They don't see it. They're unconscious because it's playing when they're not paying attention. So this to me is exciting because my work showed how the genes are controlled by the picture in your mind. And I go, this is very important because if you change the picture in your mind, you change your genetic activity.
Yes. And that's all
Negative,
what you will tell in September, I think, at the event.
100%. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And the fact is this, today I'm almost 80. By the time I get there, I'll be 80 years old. And I'm going, what? I'm not 80 in my life. I'm a kid. I'm enjoying every day of my life. Why? I'm not going to die and go to heaven. This is where I came to create. And I have been creating heaven 28 years with my partner, Margaret, because both of us understood if we changed the program, we could have heaven on earth forever. Yes. And this is what I want to bring to Brussels. It's science. It's not new age. It's not phony. It's real. It's hard science. Yes. Knowledge is power, and I want to empower the people by giving them the knowledge, the new science, epigenetics, and quantum physics. And I go, quantum physics?
Yes.
And quantum
Can you
physics,
tell us who is the man behind the scientist?
a happy boy. I'm an 80-year-old happy boy. Why? I'm not taking pharmaceutical drugs. I don't have a doctor. Nope. And I wake up every day and there's something wrong. It's something in my consciousness I have to fix. I don't go buy a pharmaceutical drug. No. Pharmaceutical drugs kill in the US 300,000 people every year in the US die from prescription drugs. Not illegal drugs, prescription drugs. People don't know this, and I'll give you a fact of science. And it was reported in the Journal of the American Medical Association, the journal for the doctors. It was also reported more recently in the British Medical Journal. You ready? The third leading cause of death in the United States. The first is cardiovascular disease. Second leading cause of death is cancer. The third leading cause of death is got a Latin name, so you don't know what it means. I go, what is it? It's called iatrogenic illness. Oh, what is iatrogenic illness? Illness as a result of medical treatment. In other words, medicine is by definition and science the third leading cause of death in the United States. And I know it's almost the same for Australia and New Zealand because I spend half a year in New Zealand most of the time. And it's the same thing. And the point about it is what? Because medicine is run by the pharmaceutical company that sells drugs. But the healing we need doesn't use drugs. The healing we need is changing the belief system. And if I offer that, the drug companies do not want you to know this because you wouldn't buy the drugs if you can heal yourself, which is the whole understanding.
Can we agree that people can come to our event in Brussels in September no matter what age?
Well, I would say maybe above 10 years old. Children have been to my lecture. I say, you know why it's important? A child, especially under 7, is recording. And you think, oh, they don't understand anything. I go, their brain has the program. They'll play these programs when they get older. So any child, but especially if you want a child to listen to the words and, maybe 10 or 11 years old is a good starting place. Why? And any age, what age you want to take power back over your life? I go, any age I'm alive, I want to have power over my life. So I say, when can you have that power? I say, knowledge is power. And I want to provide you with the newest science, the real understanding, not pharmaceutical science, basic science and physics. And there's something also exciting for me. I go, what? I never believed in spirituality. I was a scientist. We're born, genes, biomolecules, proteins, and DNA, blah, 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 blah. Then we live, and then we go back to chemistry, and that was it. But understanding of quantum physics has showed me where spirit connects to the body. And there's a special surface on the cells that in your body, except for the red blood cells. That's why we can exchange red blood cells. But you can't exchange organs. Why? Because the cells in your body have different receptors, antennas, on the surface of the cell sticking up like antennas. And these receive a signal of identity. No two people have the same identity in the whole world. Each of us is receiving a different signal. I go, so my joke when I explain, I say the body is like television set. You are now watching the Bruce show on the Bruce television set. I go, yeah, but where's the show? Well, is the show in your television? I go, no, it's the broadcast. It's picked up and then played through the television. We are energy fields, quantum physics, which I'll explain when I get there. But energy fields have the same definition as spirit. Spirit and energy fields are the same. We are receivers. Each of us is receiving a unique vibrational frequency, like on a radio where you turn the dial and there's a station and there's a station and there's a station. Each human is a different station because it's receiving a different signal. And when you're watching a TV and the TV breaks, we say, TV is dead. I go, yeah, the body is like the TV. You're watching me. If I die, you say, yep, Bruce is dead. TV's dead. I go, but if you're watching a TV and the TV breaks, did the broadcast stop? I go, no. Broadcast is always there. It's the TV that comes and goes. I go, well, wait a minute. Then that means if I die, my body is no longer receiving the signals from those antennas, but the broadcast is still there. I go, then what happens? I go, what if a new baby, a new embryo, has the same antennas that you have? You will be back, but in a different TV. Does it make a difference if your TV's male or female? I go, no, you're not the TV. You are the broadcast. Does it make a difference if it's white, brown, black, red, yellow? I go, no, that's the TV. You are the broadcast. I says, so what's the point? All of us are receiving a special spiritual broadcast. And if you put all the spiritual broadcasts together, that would be all that is. And so what does it mean for me as a scientist? And it's interesting. This is why I had to get my mind clear to write the book, because I write the book and tell you what, each of us is a piece of God, a small piece, but a creator. Each of you is a creator. You're creating your own life. But when we all come together, all the people are like cells. And when they come together, they create a new body. I go, what's that called? Humanity. That's our evolution, not separation. That's what we're doing now. Separation is destruction. Nature is community. And what we have to recognize is all humans are part of the same community. And when we come together and know that, then the whole world will be one with people. And humanity will be here. And humanity comes from a very important word, humane. I say, what is humane? Compassion. Compassion. When we come together, there will be no fighting because we're all cells in the same body. We'll start to recognize community, harmony. And when we are living in harmony, the planet will stay in harmony. So the message of we're in a mess, I go, yes. Is there a resolution? I go, yes. I go, what is it? Knowledge. Because when you know who you are, you can stop being the victim and start being the creator. Just think of living a honeymoon. Every day you wake up and go, oh my God, it's so beautiful. What a great place to live,
It
planet
is,
Earth.
and I'm really looking forward to have this experience together with you here in Brussels in September, to help people to learn how they can learn to how to create their own happy life in harmony.
Yes, everybody could write their own honeymoon book.
Yes, they can. After our event.
So I look forward to this, Martina, because I didn't believe in a lot of this stuff, but I was a medical school professor teaching medical school. But I also realized medical school is controlled by the pharmaceutical industry. That's why doctors are trained to give pills, take pills, take pills, take pills. Never trained to say, well, take control. No, take a pill, let the pill control you. I go, nope. The new biology, the new science is psychology. The new understanding is quantum physics, spirituality. And when this new science becomes a way in your life, you will have a completely different life. And while the world looks crazy, just think if you're the one with this knowledge, you can walk around the world and go, wow, those are crazy people. Those are crazy people. But you don't have to be crazy. You could have what you want. You can be healthy. And it's a real story. New Age people have talked about it, but now there's a science. It's not a suggestion. It's a mechanism.
Yeah. And you will explain that in September here in Brussels at cellular level, what happens?
I'm going to explain it so that people, you don't have to be a scientist. I will make the science simple, because if you don't understand it, then it doesn't mean anything. So I will hopefully make it so simple you will understand how you are created. Simple and
Easy and fun.
and empowering too. Totally empowering.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bruce, for this night experience together for this video, and
Martina,
I'm looking forward to be with you.
I, I'm looking forward to be with you in our community, because everyone that understands this becomes a creator. And the more creators we have, the better the world will be, because almost all of us as individuals want the same thing. We want peace and happiness and love and a beautiful place to live and to be safe and and all these things. I go, that's available. Let's do it.
Let's go. Okay. Thank you.